Hello, friends and family. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And I hope I'm having this live on the right. Yes, I am. How are you? Hello. How are you, darlings? How are you, beautiful swans? How are things on the lakes today? How are you swimming? Are you winning? Okie dokie. Nice to see you nice. Why am I here today on this live? Except to address something that's a bee in my bonnet. I have a bee in my bonnet, ladies, and whoever else joins. And I'm going to put it in the comments. And the title is going to be Preserving My Peace. Now, I know preserving my peace will cost you full stop. Okay. And let's post that and then let's pin it. Let's pin that baby. Okay. Nice to see you nice. Hello, my beautiful swans. Look at you. Mama Swan is here. Okay, just a few bits of housekeeping before I get in there, because I know I'll get carried away and I'm trying not to stay too long. I want to do 30 minutes because I want to go onto the Black Swan app and do a live. I've got a live for Black Swan app today. We're going to be talking about the difference between therapy and coaching and just answering questions. So if you're not on the Black Swan app, you're behind, you should download it. It's free. It's called the Black Swan Relationship app and it's on Google Play and Apple Store. And the plan is to do 30 minutes here and then go and have a chit chat with the ladies in there. Okay. But I wanted to have this conversation here. Also, before I forget, tomorrow for 72 hours only, we're going to have 50% off. I am so excited. And this might not seem like a big deal, but I have a Black Swan policy. My team and I have a Black Swan policy that we never, ever put our business on sale. Not any coaching calls and not anything. Maybe courses we might create packages that we put on sale, but never really our stock. And we sat down and we decided that because so many of you said, look, Chengi, I'd love to make a call, but I can't afford it. There's a poll I did the other day. We decided that what we're going to do is we're going to be generous, and we are not really doing anything to celebrate Easter and just the reality that Jesus gave his life for goodness sake. What are we holding on to so much? So we wanted to give you 50% off so you can speak to a coach and have a Black Swan experience at least once in your life, because it makes all the difference. So for the next 72 hours only, we would have probably made it 24 hours, but we wanted to be generous during Easter. You can actually book a discovery call for 50% off, and you can buy courses, including the Soulmate Attraction System course, which probably will never be on sale ever again, because it is our signature course and that never goes on sale. But I wanted to, the coach was like, was everything? I was like, yeah, everything. We're giving 50% off everything. So that is the housekeeping. And I'm sure if you follow me, you will see all of the promo stuff. So what I want to discuss with us today is I have been, every time I turn on my phone, I go on Insta and on those socials, what I hear is, I'm about preserving my peace. If you were gonna mess with my peace, you got to go. If you're gonna mess with my peace, you got to go. I preserve my peace. We've got men out here. We've got women out here. We have children and animals talking about preserving their peace, or else they're out or you're out. Somebody's out. Okay, now let me just help us out because we're Black Swans. Okay, and I want to just give it to you and keep it real for you. I get it. I get where people are coming from. It's been difficult. Relationships are harder and harder because the more work we do on ourselves, the more enlightened we become, the more it costs us to heal, the more we become, we have more light indwelling on the inside of us because we're dealing with our traumas. It becomes really difficult to be around people who haven't worked on themselves. It becomes almost impossible to be around people who just simply will not look at their wounds and heal them. I get it. This is the story of anyone who is a Black Swan, anyone that has ever invested in their emotional and mental well-being. This is a story, okay? Now, I've got a few things to say about this. And I remember saying to somebody, look, the more healing you have, it should show up in your ability to actually hold space for other people who don't have healing. It shouldn't be a manifestation of expelling people from our lives because they are not at our level of healing. They're not at our level where we've done everything to come back to peace. Here's what I want to say. There are two types of peace. There's false peace and there's real peace. Now, Jesus says, give them the peace, your peace, not the peace that the world gives them, but your peace. That indicates to me, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, wherever you're from, but let's looking at the Bible as a spiritual text. There are different types of peace. The peace that comes from above, the peace, if you like, that comes from our essence, that comes from our God nature, is a peace that passeth all understanding. It is not a fragile peace. It is not a peace that is so easily shaken. It is not a peace that it can be played with. That's real peace. Peace is that state of mind and heart that even when chaos is happening, there's an internal centeredness on the inside of you that knows that it is well. The peace that we're all out here trying to protect, that means everybody that comes against my peace got to go. That peace is false peace. It's not real peace. And I don't want us buying into that story. We're not, look, you can do what you like, but Black Swans don't buy into that story. The reason I am discouraging you from buying into the story and these waves of peace, 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 is that you will die alone. You will literally die alone. You will create isolation. These things sound good. And one of the things I was saying to my son the other day, I was like, a truth has to have enough, a lie has to have enough truth in it to sell it. A lot of deception is out in the atmosphere. It sounds so good. If you mess with my peace, you got to go. I don't have anyone in my life who's going to mess with my peace. And every single inspirational leader on the internet is on that bandwagon. And we are ingesting this lie. Okay? The lie that life and relationships are only optimal when we have peace. And a lot of this peace is not the real peace, because the real peace doesn't need defending. The real peace does not need everybody in your life to stack up itself in rows. The real peace doesn't require the people that you love and who have loved you to come into alignment with it. It doesn't, because it is a peace that is unshakable, unmovable. It is a peace that passeth all understanding. The fake peace is really what people with a dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant attachment style to the world are selling us. This is how the fearful avoidant manifests. If you come like you're taking away my peace, if you come like you're taking away my, whatever this false peace I have, you're out. Right? And what happens is these people never build relationships, because I'm going to tell you the truth about relationships, and I'm going to tell you the truth about life, if you don't already know it. The truth about relationships is that whatever trauma we experience in our body will be triggered by a relationship. Can I get an amen? If you know, you know. If you're a Black Swan, you know. Come on now. Let's see it. Amen. Give me an amen. We're going to church right now. No, I'm not going to preach to you. But you understand what I'm saying. Any trauma that is caught up in our body will manifest itself through relationship. And guess what? You wanted to. Ta-da! I know. We've been taught by the spiritual world, by the wellness industry, that only when we are calm are we regulated. That being regulated is about Zen, the Zen state, the calm state, the guru state. Okay, these things are all very nice, and I'm sure there's that level of enlightenment. May God bring me to it. However, that is not the complete truth. You are regulated when what is happening outside of you and what's happening inside of you have a coherency. When what's happening on the outside of you and the inside of you makes sense. If you have a big truck coming your way whilst you directly oppositional and you don't get dysregulated, you are not regulated. If you don't feel some kind of way, a danger coming your way, then you are not a healthy person. If somebody does something to provoke you, make you angry, to make you feel unsafe, and you don't feel unsafe and you don't feel angry, you are not a healthy person. There's actually the reality that anger is a regulated state if it is congruent with what's going on externally. Anger is an appropriate response. Annoyance is an appropriate response. Frustration is an appropriate response if and when there's a mirror. If there's genuinely something that is happening outside of you that is causing you to react in a justifiable way. Now, when do we say there's a problem? When are we dysregulated? When somebody innocently says something in a joke and you go off on one. Then there's a it's about choosing your battles wisely and choose to tolerate and battle with. Exactly. There's an inconsistency between what is actually happening. There's humor happening. People are having a good time. They're having a laugh. It's not at your expense, but you are triggered, right? Or I'm having a conversation at large with whoever will listen and you take it personally, okay? That tells me, yeah, that's trauma. You're now dysregulated. You're not functioning normally as you should, right? But if I have a personal attack on you and I call your name and I attack you and you get angry, you are not dysregulated. You are in the perfect state of being. That too is a good state to be, okay? Because there are people who should be angry who are not angry. There are people who are in situations where they should genuinely be angry at what's happening, but they're not, they repress it. That is not healthy. And we might look at them and say, oh, they're calm all the time, but that's not healthy because that's going to express itself in a certain kind of way. Now, if we can normalize the rainbow of emotions that runs through our body as truly healthy, why do we not want people around us who trigger us, who challenge us, who push us to really have a healthier relationship with ourselves? If you truly love somebody, the more you love them, the more they can trigger you and the more they should trigger you. I am not talking about abusive narcissistic relationships where somebody's manipulating you, gaslighting you, playing with your mind. I'm talking about the reality that people will come with their wounds, they will come with their baggage, but they're good people, they're loving people, they came to love, they came to give, they came to serve, but they're triggering you. Unless we are triggered, unless something is triggered inside of us, how do we know we have poison on the inside of us? Now let's talk about triggers. Triggers only exist where explosive exists. Triggers are for guns because there's a bullet that is explosive and dangerous. Triggers are for bombs. Triggers are for things that are genuinely harmful and explosive. Should we be upset at the trigger, or should we look at the trigger as a sign that we have an explosive indwelling on the inside of us? And if that explosive is not going to explode, it will one day implode. And the implosion usually manifests in ways that we would rather they didn't, okay? We want people in our lives that allow us to be uncomfortable. We want people in our lives that shake us up a little bit. We want people in our lives that bring up all of the trauma that we haven't addressed in our childhood. This is what we want relationships for. When we want relationships just so we can always feel a sense of peace, which is really calm. What we want, what we're calling peace and what is being called peace out there in the internet is really calm. People don't have created the state of calm and they want to stay calm, but calm is a feeling, calm is an emotion, and emotions by and large move, change, and shift. So to insist that I will only accept people in my life that maintain calm in my life or they've got to go is really buying into a dismissive, avoidant, and fearful, avoidant attachment style. This is not a healthy way of attaching with people. This makes people lazy in relationships. Now, nobody wants to actually work. Nobody actually wants to show up in a relationship and have difficult conversations, because difficult conversations are more powerful than just walking away because it's messing with my peace. I saw one this morning that ultimately triggered me, and wasn't that a good trigger? Because I'm right here sharing something with you that I probably wouldn't have shared if I hadn't been triggered. And this gentleman was talking about, if you're inconsistent, if I pick up any inconsistency from you, you're out. If I pick up any, and he's basically talking about things that happen within the dating world. Now, for me, If we're just gonna, everyone that's inconsistent straight away out, anyone that doesn't call back or doesn't keep the rhythm, and we don't even have a mindset of communication, patience, love, we're just going to end up alone, because there can be so many misunderstandings in the dating world. Can be so many misunderstandings in relationships. But if our only answer is you got to go, okay, that is a wounded spirit. That is a hurting spirit. That is not a healthy spirit. We have to understand when we're listening to some things that people are saying, are they speaking from hurt? And anybody that's so dismissive of relationships and so flicky, you gotta go, okay, that person usually is dealing with wounded energy. That person is usually dealing with something that has harmed them or hurt them, a wound that is usually quite raw. Because the idea of relationships, especially long-term relationships, is our ability as a couple to overcome war, overcome battles, okay, overcome discomfort, overcome misunderstandings, overcome pain. This is the reality of relationships, and this is why relationships are falling apart by the wayside at 100 miles an hour, is that we are not overcoming. We are not overcoming this thing. And then when we tell people, look, and that is a state of peace, you are not welcome here. Don't get it wrong. If you have toxic family, friends, if you have toxic relationships in your life, and I mean toxic, like these people's agenda in your life is to mess it up, of course, you got to go. You got to go. And I know that for some of these influencers, that is what they're talking about. They're talking about toxic people. But the interpretation I heard today, I realized that this message is not being heard the way it is intended. This message is being heard, and now it's being spread like it's the antidote for relationships. Hey, listen, if somebody comes and threatens your peace, they've got to go. They're out the door. They gotta go. Okay, we're not about that. We're not about that life. We have to understand that relationships take patience. The relationships are here to help us co-regulate, to heal. Relationships are here to teach us how to be better communicators. Relationships are there to open our hearts and to be vulnerable and to learn how to vet people and how to choose people. There isn't a one, just do this one thing and your life is going to be okay, because it will be okay. I'll tell you how you're going to have this extended peace. You're going to have this extended peace by being alone and lonely. You're going to be isolated. Because if nobody is allowed to mess with your peace, then you're going to be alone. Because humans, they mess with your peace. Now, if you're a parent, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Because our children, they mess with our peace. Can I get an amen? Okay, my teenage son, I adore him. I do. And I'm very lucky. He's a great boy. Doesn't give me any problems. But he gonna mess with my peace. That boy gonna mess with my peace. Okay? He's gonna sometimes dysregulate me. Do I just tell him, well, you're messing with my peace? Out the door. Out. You got to go. I wouldn't do that, because love sticks around. Love holds, love heals, love is this amazing power, and we should all be seeking to love better, to love more completely. That should be the aim of any black swan. That should be the aim of any good human, to love wholly, completely, to love with an open heart. And for that to happen, I have to love you when you're being messy. I'm not saying you're toxic. I'm saying you're a good friend. You're a good man. You're a good man in my life. You've shown up in many ways in my life. You show up as a good man, but right now, you're messing with my peace. Okay? I know people who have ended relationships because the calm in the relationship ceased. Because they interpreted the calm as the peace. And now they think, oh, this person doesn't bring me peace after all. No, it was just calm. It was just calm. Now there's conflict because something has arisen in your relationship that has created conflict. And instead of us working through it, talking through it, having difficult conversations, difficult moments, allowing sometimes the energy in the relationship to be painful to experience, because I know you fundamentally to be a good person and to mean me well. Like, if I really search my heart, if I really search my spirit, I know you mean me well. But right now, in this moment, things don't feel right. If I can be that person, who says, look, I love you and I know you love me, but right now the calm in our relationship is gone, but it doesn't mean that the love is gone. We have to be careful about the bandwagons we jump onto, you know? I just wanted to leave that with you ladies, because when I see something prevailing, I want to talk about it, because normally I agree with some of these things, but it really is getting overboard, especially when men are on it, okay? I get women being on it because emotions are really the realm that we go crazy in. But when men start jumping on that bandwagon and they're so sold out to needing this sense of peace that is not real, it's a problem, because we're seeing some feminine energy floating around here, okay? And there's nothing wrong with men expressing their feminine energy, but they shouldn't be sitting in it. You know, they shouldn't be sitting in it. They should be getting information from it. They should be acknowledging it. They should be validating it, but they shouldn't be sitting in it. And so what we have are wounded people talking about, if you're going to mess with my peace, you got to go. Well, I'm just going to let you know that you're going to be alone. You're going to be alone. You're going to be isolated. You're going to be very, very, very lonely. Because whatever it is you think you're protecting, that's not real. It's a false peace. It's a peace that is about your ego. It's really about you constantly protecting yourself, which is the work of the ego. Always trying to protect you from something. That's the ego. That's not your true essence. That is not the true peace. That is not the peace that Jesus left behind. That's not the peace that he died for. It's Easter time. Let's talk about it. That's not the peace he died for. The peace he died for is one that passeth all understanding. The peace he died for is the one that endures. The peace he died for is in the midst of chaos, you have peace. It's not the emotion of calm. Calm is an emotion. When you feel calm, it's an emotional state of being. Peace is something that prevails even when you're angry. Peace is something that prevails even when you're frustrated. It's a knowing in your soul that you're okay. It's knowing your soul that this does not define you. This person does not define you. It's a knowing that no matter what is falling apart, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be intact. Even if the boat around me crushes and burns, I'm gonna make it to the other side of the shore. That peace that comes from a much deeper place than whether this person has walked into our lives and whether this person has been inconsistent, so they got to go, or whether this person did not respond to our text messages and they haven't responded in a while, so they got to go. Who's going to stay? Because what happens is you teach your nervous system that whenever I'm uncomfortable, whenever there's discomfort in my life, and it started at the entrance of somebody in my life, by somebody coming into my life, when we start telling ourselves that, we start to build neurological pathways where we can't be around humans, because humans will bring some kind of discomfort. Any human. I don't have a friend that I've not had some kind of discomfort with at some point. I've not been around a human that has not brought some discomfort, that has brought some energy, that has behaved out of character. We don't have any of those people in the world. They don't exist. So I don't want us to fall prey to some of this mess, because if we do, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching, hello, we're going to find ourselves very lonely, very isolated. We need to really understand the truth, and then it's going to set us free. Okay? That's me from Mama Swan. So if you got a question you want to ask me before I go, I've got 5 minutes. Feel free to ask me, because I'm about to hop onto the Black Swan relationship app, and say hello to the girls and talk about the difference between therapy and coaching. Okay? So if you're not asking me any questions, you should be downloading the app. If you're not downloading the app, because you've already downloaded it, I'm going to see you on the other side, and then we can have a good question and answer session. All right then. I'll wait a bit longer in case my feed is not coming up fast enough. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to assume that my job here is done. Have yourself a wonderful evening, day, afternoon, or morning, and I will see you on my next video.